Hello, here we are out at the Life Intense Timberline Exchange 20-foot bell tent, and it's been exactly 1 year since we put this up. We've got a little maintenance to do, so come along. What you're seeing right here is why it is so critical to have sun exposure on this tent, at least for a good portion of the day. Now, when we put this tent here, we cut down some trees and opened up the canopy, and last year we had plenty of sun. But as you know, when you open up the canopy in the forest, it is quickly closed up by the trees around it. It closed up a lot quicker than we thought, and because of it, it started getting this algae formation on the fly on the north side of the tent. The back side's not so bad, but on this north side, it's pretty significant, so we're gonna have to clean this off. Now, the great thing is that the fly really protected the tent underneath. The tent only has some discoloration at the bottom of the 4 vent windows up front on this north side. At the very bottom you see discoloration. We're going to take care of that too. So let's get to it. Once you loosen up the fly and disconnect all the side stays, you really have to pull that pole down in the middle. It's the easiest way because you can't pull it over the top of the pole when the tent is up. But as you can see, it's a one-man job. Just loosen up the sides, pull the pole down, get the fly off to the side, put the pole right back up. So let's get this fly back to the house and see what we can do to clean it up. First thing I've done is I laid a tarp down to protect the bottom of the fly. And I laid it out in a nice sunny area. This area is going to be sunny all day, so after I clean it off, I'm going to let it dry in the sun. Lack of sun causes that to grow, and plenty of sunshine kills it. So let's kill it. I wanted to give you an idea of how it's working. I'm just using a mild detergent, Dawn. They also recommend maybe baby shampoo or Woolite and warm water. And I've got a hose with a nozzle. And it takes a little scrubbing, not bad at all though. I'm not scrubbing real hard. I try to go 2 different ways, and you can see the difference between this panel and the ones next to it. So it's coming right off pretty easily. I'll just keep at it. It's a big fly, so got a lot of work to do. All right, we've cleaned it all off, and now I've got it on the clothesline here, and I'm trying to keep it off the ground so that it dries evenly all over the place. But it washed off real nicely, and I had to enlist the help of my kids because it took quite a bit of scrubbing, and it's a big, big tent fly, so can't wait to put that back on, but it's gonna sit in the sun for about, probably 6 or 7 hours. Well, after a year under that fly, we got some debris here. I'm just going to brush it off with a soft bristle brush. There's also some pollen and dust on the outsides. I'm just going to sweep that off. But there's one thing I want to note. I'll bring the camera closer here in a second. I had a wasp nest. Now, we've continuously occupied this off and on for a year, but we left for 4 weeks. And when we came back, we actually found that a group of wasps had made a nest there. And surprisingly, they actually ate through the canvas to make that nest. It's critical that you check this every day. We had somebody checking the house. We didn't have somebody checking out here. So for a year, it was fine. We left for 4 weeks, and those wasps came in. So they will actually eat through canvas, and I'll show you that to you. This is the top where the vent is. And right here, they actually ate a hole through the canvas under the vent, which won't cause a leak, but pretty amazing that they actually ate through it. So gotta watch that. Keep those critters out of your tent. Check it regularly, at least every couple days, at the very least every week. So we took care of the fly. Now I'm going to come back to the main tent. Again, there's 4 windows up front that have this green tinting down here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to scrape it with a dry brush. I started doing it right there. The vast majority actually comes off with a dry brush. You don't have to put any chemical or anything on it. And then after that, we have a product. This comes from Life Intense. It's IOSSO. Now, they have a big container of it. It's powder that you put in there, and it says 1 packet for every 16 ounces. So we have some spray bottles here to go ahead and mix the ingredients, mix the packets in there, and spray it on and apply it. And then Aiden has the Husqvarna backpack sprayer, and that's what we're going to use to rinse it all with. So let's get to it. After thoroughly wetting down the soiled areas, you want to let it sit for at least 15 minutes, depending on how badly soiled it was. Then you can lightly scrub it to break up the mold or dirt and spray it with the backpack sprayer. You can see here, as soon as you spray it, it comes right off and leaves a clean white tent. Now I did have to drop the pole again to get the fly back on the center. And here you see me actually putting the ropes back on because I took those off to clean it too. Once they're all back on, I went ahead and tightened them up, and we were back.
Well, as you can tell, it's a hot day out here today. I'm all sweaty and messy, but we got the tent back up and everything tightened up. I think the fly looks really good, and as you can see, that product actually took the grime off the bottom of the flaps there. Really happy with it, and really happy with the tent overall. Let's take a quick break from this video, and I want to give you my overall opinion after having set this up and used it for 1 year now. First off, some of you know that when we first got here, we had 50 acres of woodland and we pulled a camper on, and we lived in that camper for 11 months. Now, could I possibly have lived in a life in tents for 11 months? Well, let's talk about that. So the three big disadvantages of the camper were, first of all, lack of space. It was really hard to get 7 people moving around in that camper at any given time, constantly bumping into each other. Number 2, lack of privacy. There were times when it was bitter cold or really hot outside and you just couldn't get out and get away from people, so you're really stuck in there. And number 3, and this was huge, condensation. We had a tremendous issue with condensation, and we had to take a lot of steps to get rid of it. So let's look at the life in tent solution. First, let's talk about the space itself. One Timberline Exchange 20-foot diameter tent is about 315 square feet. My 30-foot camper was about 250 square feet, so only one tent at a fraction of the cost would be more square footage. Now, if we consider the fact that I could buy 5 of these tents, full setup that I've got right now, for the cost that I paid for that camper, let's say I chose to only get 3. I would save money, and I would have about 4 times as much space. I would also have privacy, because if I had 3 tents, you could go to one of the other 2 tents at any given time. So then let's get into the condensation. We have had 0 condensation problems with this tent the entire time. We've gone through 4 seasons. So I would say we would completely eliminate the condensation problem. So as far as living space, it would be a huge advantage and cost savings to go with life in tents as opposed to the camper. You might ask, how would we cook without a camper, or take a shower, or go to the bathroom? Well, quite honestly, the vast majority of our cooking was done outside the camper. Why? Because there wasn't enough space. In the summer, it made it too hot, and in the winter, it caused way too much condensation. So we primarily cooked outside the tent, or outside the camper. Now, as far as going to the bathroom, we primarily used the outside bucket toilet because, again, the camper was so small and it just wasn't convenient. Now, as far as showering, yeah, in the dead of winter, it's a little tricky to shower outside, but that could be easily remedied by building a small shower house. It could go up really quick, and you saw in some of our videos, we had a propane water heater that we could actually have hot showers outside with no problem. So all of those could be addressed. Lastly, let's talk about heating and cooling. As you've seen, as we've done these videos, this tent is very well accustomed to heating options and cooling options. And we actually had a small space heater in there. And funny thing is, even though it was in single digits, we didn't really use it, and neither did our guests. But it was there, and it was a viable option. One of the things I've been extremely pleased with and impressed with this tent is the complete lack of maintenance compared to the RV, and really compared to other options. We've done a little bit of work today, but that's a couple hours of maintenance, and mostly because it was in a very humid environment in the shade. Had we used this as our living arrangement, it would have been way out in the sun, and I don't think we would have dealt with this issue at all. So I'm going to have to say that the life in tent solution for short-term, mid-term, or even long-term off-grid living is absolutely, hands down, above the RV option. And if I ever do it again, You're going to bet I'm going back to Life in Tents to do this. Well, thanks a lot for watching today. We love the comments. Please leave them, and we'll see you next time.